橋君どうしたのそのブーツ。ほっぺ黒いし顔も白いし。
筋トレの効果がモラに出てるよね。顔も引き締まってきたというか。ごめん、ちょっと地獄に戻ってくる。
地獄？
出た！1秒間10回レイプ発言だ。
ゴルゴ、あんただけだ。
とりあえず話しかけてみる。
やめとけよ。
でも近づいてくるよ。
ハロー。
Number 10, Terraformers. Once again, we've got another movie from Takashi Miike. Now, this one this is probably one of the few that I am most familiar with and that is most fresh in my mind. I did happen to catch Terraformers on a flight when I was flying on Delta in the US, of all places, back to the East Coast. And so it is available somewhere, subtitled. But if you've never seen Terraformers, Terraformers takes place about 500 years in the future. And what happens is that the world decides they're going to terraform Mars. To do that, they have a 500+ year plan where they send algae and cockroaches to Mars and then just let the atmosphere permeate throughout the planet. And then in about 500 years or so, they send astronauts with cans of Raid to go and wipe out the cockroaches. However, because of solar radiation, the cockroaches have evolved suddenly, and they've become these ultra powerful beings that hate mankind, probably about as much or more than humanity hates cockroaches. So anytime they see humans, they basically just mop the floor with them. And so what happens is that the series starts on the second mission when the original astronauts were wiped out, and we've got these superpowered beings who are now headed to Earth, and they are the dregs of society, the nobodies, the unwanted, and they're being inspired for whatever reason to go to Mars. Like they're sent there with a promise for something if they just go to Mars and complete this mission that they're not fully aware of what they're doing. And the movie actually, here's the thing, the movie was actually really accurate. It was really good. However, if you're a fan of the series, there are only 2 major issues with this movie. And I said it in my review, and I know one other guy said it in his review. Everybody else who reviewed it, from what I saw on YouTube, was not actually familiar with the series at all. Only me and this other guy. And our major issue with this was that one, in the original, there was a big deus ex machina. The ending is a big deus ex machina. And basically that somehow they magically end this crazy fight with one superpowered move that is actually not from this series. It's a knockdown fight left and right, and they barely managed to make it on board in the manga. Like they barely managed to escape. Whereas in the movie, they escape with their heads held high and everything. And the other issue was, once again, yellow washing. So in the original series, Terraformers in the Bugs Project. The Bugs Project missions are conducted by a group called UNASA, which is basically the world's NASA, and they recruit people from all over the world and to go to Mars and do these things. However, in this Japanese movie, everyone is Japanese. So they had to do a lot of rewriting and rejiggering in terms of like the why and who and whatever and why they're there and all these sorts of things that aren't necessarily Japanese concepts. So it felt more like it was kind of a pain to rewrite this whole thing than it would have been just to go and find some Japanese-speaking gaijin or just have the whole thing done in English. So yeah, that was my major issue with Terraformers. Besides that, fantastic movie, very good. If you like the series, it's very, very, very accurate. It's one of the few live-action adaptations that's extremely accurate to the comic, except for these two things. And once again, there are a few other small rewrites that had to be done because they made everyone Japanese in the movie, as opposed to just making everyone from all over the world. So yeah, number 10, Terraformers. Number 9, Mushishi. Now, I'm sure many of you have not ever heard of this series. Mushishi is kind of a cult classic, but Mushishi is a series about a kind of witch doctor who travels throughout old Japan, healing people from supernatural ailments. And I felt like this was a completely underrated movie. You can get this in the U.S. I believe it's on Netflix, and I felt like it was a very amazing movie, very well done. It is very slow. It's not a shonen. It's not full of action. It's very, very slow, and that's how the story is in both the anime and the manga. It's a very slow series, and it's a chunk of short stories that aren't necessarily tied together, which the movie was. The movie was essentially a chunk of short stories that were kind of tied together around this one guy, which was done pretty well in my opinion. So yeah, and the English title I believe is called Bugmaster. But that's just the live-action movie. The manga, the anime, they're both called Mushishi, and you can find them in the U.S. In fact, I have the entire volume translated to English from I forget the name of the publisher, but there's a big publisher who does translations, English translations. It's not Viz. It's one of their major competitors, and they actually have the entire thing, all 10 books translated. The anime, I believe, was done by Funimation, so it's very easy to find as well. Number 8, I Am a Hero. No need for translation here. That is the exact translation of the movie. That is the exact title of the movie. That is the exact title of the manga. This was actually not an anime. It was just a manga. And the series actually just finished in Japan last year in terms of the manga. And this is essentially a zombie flick. But it's zombie in the realm of like 28 Days Later, that sort of thing. But it's a lot creepier. It's with a Japanese kind of twist. So it is kind of a zombie-ish flick. It's basically about this timid manga author who is attempting to survive the zombie apocalypse. And the monsters are called ZQNs, which you don't actually find out until about 3/4 of the way through the manga. I think it was. It's either 3/4 or 1/2. But it's only, they're given that name because of posters on the anonymous posters on the internet. And the movie, in my opinion, was actually very well done. This movie only actually encompasses part of, I believe it's the first quarter of the manga. And basically up until he escapes from a mall. And the movie, of course, goes in a slightly different direction, but it's something that could actually take place in that world. And it's very similar to the events that unfold in the book. Now, there are some differences in how in the movie from the manga, which I explain in my review of it, which I don't remember if I've put that up yet, but I should. But it's actually a very, very good story. Both movie and manga. Manga gets very, very weird towards the end, but in terms of enjoyment, it's very, very good for the vast majority of it. And the movie's just a solid, good movie. Period. So yes, number 8, I Am a Hero.
夜分申し訳ありません。田辺翼さんはご在宅でしょうか。
まだ帰っておりませんが、何か。
死亡予告書をお届けに参りました。死亡予定者には交通、宿泊、飲食費の無料化など様々な特権が認められています。ご遺族に対しても国家繁栄維持法に基づく遺族年金が支払われます。しかし、もし死亡予定者がやけを起こし犯罪行為などを働いた場合、ご遺族の年金の受給資格が失われ、その量刑に見合う賠償金を被害者に支払わなければ。
Number 7, Ikigami. Now this is one I don't know many people that have heard of this. So Ikigami is actually a manga. It was never turned into an anime. But Ikigami is a series that takes place in an alternate present-day Japan, in which, or near future Japan, in which people have been given have these little things installed in their heads which kill them at a certain time, at a certain date. They're given these implants. They're given these implants in elementary school, and between the ages of 18 and I believe it's 30 or 35, this implant can go off at any time. And but there's very, very meticulous records kept as to when this will happen. So what happens is that when it's time for that person, when that person's implant is about to go off and kill them, they're given a notice 24 hours in advance. And this is some kind of, this is done by the Japanese government as some sort of quality of life experiment. or initiative to make people appreciate their lives more. And so the notice is called an ikigami. And the manga actually follows the guy who, one of the fellows who actually delivers these notices to the people. And in the manga is just a bunch of short stories about what these people do with their lives once they find this out. And there's all sorts of range of things. As you can imagine, when people go crazy, they because of the reaction that this entails, that people have when they get notice of this, many people are actually given many people are actually given leeway in terms of the law when this happens, and the families are also insured in case the person who does this, who is served this ikigami, the family does get like life insurance, or there is insurance for however they might react, whether they destroy something, whether they kill somebody, whatever it is. There's a bunch of things that are in place to kind of make things a little easier on the people that they leave behind. And in the movie actually does do a very good job of portraying what the manga is like and how people handle their receiving this ikigami. Now, the only thing that is different from what I noticed between the movie and the manga is that the guy who delivers this actually tries to do something in the movie, whereas or almost makes a difference, and he doesn't quite do it, but he still tries. Whereas in the manga, he looks into it. He goes as far as looking into it, but then realizes that the system is so it's so well planned out that the way this is done in the manga is that the system is, everything is done by different people. So there's no way to trace for anybody to have any knowledge of who is what. So like the implants have serial numbers, and the records of the kids who get implanted with certain things. Like, it's one group of people who just implant, it's another group of people who create the thing. There's a third group of people who are who keep track of the implants over time, and then there's a last group of people who are the people who deliver it. So everything is so well planned out that there's no way that you can make a difference in this. So yeah, it's a very interesting movie if you've never seen it. It's a good way to get into the manga, at the very least. So yeah, number 7 is Ikigami.
AB형 손들어라. 어서 가라. 피 많이 흘렸다.
Number 6, Old Boy. And I am not referring to the Spike Lee, Josh Brolin Old Boy that was created a few years back. I'm referring to the South Korean Old Boy. And this was a wild movie. It was very interesting. Unfortunately, this is one of the few on my list that I haven't actually had the chance to encounter the original material. So I can't say whether or not it's very accurate. But in terms of a movie, it was solid. It's held up as one of the standards of films. And once again, this is an adaptation of a manga, so a Japanese one, no less. So very good series, very good movie. Check it out if you have the chance. Yep, that's the series. Those are the actors from the series. Gakdo, yep. Come on, guys. Come on, you gotta get better. Oh, yep, here we go.